President Trump is making it more expensive for Mexico and Canada to get their products through America's front door, and that could increase the cost of the packages left on your front porch.
At a time when 3 out of 4 Americans are telling CBS News their incomes are not keeping up with inflation. At a minute past midnight, a 25% tax takes effect on imports from America's closest and biggest trading partners. The announcement had investors running for the exits. Nvidia, GM, and Amazon led a sell-off that saw the Dow plunge nearly 1.5%, the Nasdaq more than 2.5%, and the S&P 1.75%. Weijia Jiang is at the White House. Weijia?
Well, President Trump says Canada and Mexico must face those tariffs because they have failed to stop the flow of fentanyl into the U.S. And for this same reason, he's bumping up the fee on Chinese imports. Tonight, economists warn this could spark a trade war that will cost consumers.
After following through on his threat.
The tariffs, they're all set. They go into effect tomorrow.
President Trump says there's a simple solution for countries that want to avoid tariffs.
What they have to do is build their car plants, frankly, and other things in the United States, in which case they have no tariffs.
To make his point today, Trump hosted the CEO of a Taiwanese semiconductor chip manufacturing company who pledged to invest $100 billion in new manufacturing plants in the U.S. And the president said Japanese automaker Honda has ditched its plan to open a new plant in Mexico, opting instead for Indiana to avoid tariffs. But auto prices are still likely to increase. One study found a large SUV with parts from Mexico could jump $9,000.
Trade wars are costly and nobody wins.
Josh Lipsky is a former State Department official.
Trump argues that we're going to slap all these extra fees on imports. So then everyone's just going to buy America, and that'll be great for American manufacturing, American companies. But doesn't that take time?
That doesn't happen overnight. That could take years. And in the meantime, there's huge cost of transition.
Another recent study estimates the new tariffs could cost the average U.S. family more than $1,200 a year.
I think people at home really just want to know, what does this mean for me? Do companies absorb the cost, or am I going to have to pay more?
You're going to have to pay more. It doesn't mean you're going to have to pay exactly what the tariff is, because there are all kinds of ways which some of this gets absorbed by companies and otherwise. But you as a consumer will very likely pay more for the products that are tariffed. And it could get worse if a trade war erupts.
And Weijia, we remember candidate Trump promising to lower prices on day one. What has he been saying about the overall economy?
Well, he hasn't been talking much about those prices, and in fact has not talked about the overall economy in terms of specific actions he is taking to immediately lower the prices. Now, his economic team says, look, it's only been 6 weeks since he took office, so you have to give us some time for the policies to take effect. And the White House says he'll talk about all of this when he addresses a joint session of Congress tomorrow night.
And there are even more tariffs coming, yes?
Yeah, the president announced that next month the U.S. will impose reciprocal tariffs on any country that has a fee on American exports. And a new study from the University of Michigan shows that all these tariffs are already having an impact. It showed that consumer confidence decreased by 10% since January, and it will likely impact consumer spending.
And Weijia, has that consumer spending received any kind of pushback from the White House? What's their explanation for that?
Well, they say that they are doing everything that they can. For example, when it comes to the price of eggs, they say that the Department of Agriculture has a plan to deal with the bird flu and then deal with the costs. And so far, they claim that, the economy is doing great. And because of all these bigger actions that Trump is taking, whether it's with DOGE or whether it's with tariffs, they say it will have an impact and boost that confidence overall.